This episode brings me a lot of joy. Let's have the OMax conversation coming up on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm here because I have to be here.
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
That's it. It's me versus the machine. Don't let his lightness take away from his quickness.
You can rest later. You're young.
I'm in a recovery here.
Wait. One more thing. Yeah. You are Locked On Dallas Mavericks. This is one of your co-hosts, Isaac Harris. Today's a one more thing. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen of the day. Go make Locked On NBA your second listen of the day. And if you're a true Mavs fan, guys, you already signed up for our Locked On Mavs Subtext Insider program. You get all the latest news, Q&As, and more through that. Text it to you, right to your phone. And you know, we have a newsletter. It's free. One email a day, all the latest Mavs news. Make sure you sign up for that. You can do all of that by scanning the QR code there on your screen if you're watching on YouTube. If you're an audio listener, it's in the description of the podcast. Dang, I kind of like this little jam here. Might just leave the music going. We should just be rocking with this all the time. The one more thing music here. Guys, I get to talk about OMax today, and I'm pretty excited about it. I'm not gonna lie, I can't hide the smile, the excitement to talk about Olivier-Maxence Prosper. My past 12 hours, by the way, has been a gas leak in our house, which has been a whole mess. So obviously results in no heat in our house, and our little girl is sick. So that has been the past 12 hours, but you know what's gotten me through that? You know, just being up most of the night, paying a pretty good bill this morning to fix a gas leak in our house. I'm like, you know what? The recent play of OMax Prosper, just getting me through all of it. You guys know, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know I really liked OMax Prosper coming out of the draft, and it's so cool to see him just getting some minutes and we're taking advantage of it over the past few games. And you saw that against OKC last night, and big win for them. I love that that we've beat OKC 3 times this year, all 3 times without Luka. And but last night was just insane. Just seeing Kessler get minutes, seeing OMax get minutes, but OMax plays 21 minutes in this game. He's getting these switches on defense. He's more aggressive when he drives to the basket. His energy is always there. Okay, so that's the one thing. If you ever notice, national announcers, that's the one thing they know about OMax is the energy. It's their one talking point of the notes they get from somebody, which isn't wrong. But there's also a little bit more to his game and to him besides just his energy. But I go back and I look at when he was in the 2023 draft, and I go back to that draft, the same draft as Derek Lively. Many of you were listening to the podcast then, and I try to find these guys that I like in the draft process. I try to find 1 to 2 guys. I'm like, man, I think I'm higher than the consensus on these guys. And a process I really enjoy doing with our friend Jonathan Sharks. And John and I used to text about prospects all the time, and just how they would translate. Tari Eason was one of our last ones that we really geeked out over, and just who has him higher on their board. And we just both really like Tari Eason a lot, and just different guys. He really liked Jalen Williams a lot too. Anyway, I could talk all day about John and basketball and all of that. We miss John. That's why I always have Sharks here on my mic here. But anyway, I would have loved to have the conversation about OMax with John heading into that draft, because I feel like we both would have liked him a lot. You go back and you look at OMax, he plays at Marquette. Him and Oso played together, plays for Phoenix there at Marquette, and he's 20 years old. he first played at Clemson, but he transfers to Marquette. He's from Canada. He's 6'7", this 7'1" wingspan. Then you look at, his combine stuff. He has this 40.5-inch vertical, which is like in the top 4 at the combine. He has the 35-inch standing vertical at the combine, which was second. And then all the stuff you heard about him the most was just what an impressive human being he was. Just how impressive he was in interviews and all the stuff. And, he speaks 4 languages. And so it's like that combined with, I loved a lot of stuff I saw at Marquette. And especially in today's game, because, the wing position is so valuable. It's so important. And it like more than ever. And so we're always trying to look at, like, I was a big OG guy. I loved OG. I remember talking to Yogi Ferrell when he was in Dallas about OG at Indiana. And that was when Yogi told me, he's like, dude, he has tree trunks for thighs and for legs, talking about OG back then. I really liked OG, and then he got hurt, before the draft and all that stuff. But I really, really liked OMax just for the combination, a bunch of stuff. You saw the different type of guys he guarded in college at times. They played UConn, and he was like chasing Jordan Hawkins around these screens. And then he goes to the combine and he puts up 21 and 11, and then he shuts it all down. And it's just like, all right, he's going to go in the first round, right? Like, there's the energy, the electricity. He crashes the boards. His sister plays basketball at Notre Dame. I was just like looking at a bunch of my notes and stuff pre-draft. So then obviously they go, they go and they make the trade on draft night. After they get lively, they trade back in and get OMax. I'm going nuts. I'm like, this is my guy. They go get him, and they need a guy like this so bad. And I'm like, man, he's really good in transition and cutting. He's great around the rim, and he had some catch and shoot stuff at Marquette that I liked. I was like, this is the perfect type of guy that you want to grow and have around a guy like Luka. And I was looking at, and I even wrote down Tari Eason as a name to think of for him. Tari Eason's a year ahead of him. I even wrote down an OG type, not thinking that he's going to be like that. OG has more offense to his game probably. So, or a Jared Vanderbilt type. I'm like, you always need those type of guys, but especially around Luka. And so they take him, and then it's the whole thing. Like, he starts in the preseason, like, whoa, is he gonna? But he struggled to start this, to start his career, right? Like, we're in year 2, and he struggled to find the exact lane for him to feel comfortable on the basketball court. And I want to take a quick break real quick, and then I want to come back and talk about why he struggled, but also this recent play that has me really encouraged about OMax moving forward.
You don't believe you shouldn't be here.
This podcast is brought to you by our friends, our longtime friends at FanDuel. Guys, FanDuel, from the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. The NFL playoffs. It is conference championship weekend. It's where the Bills and Chiefs are playing, not my Ravens, but rooting on the Bills here. Go Bills. Right now, well, my son, right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. That's $300 to keep your action going. And the FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and a variety of bets keep every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings, whether you're betting on your favorite team. Your favorite team has to still be playing, or just looking to add some excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. Visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Go Commanders. Go Bills. That's FanDuel.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
I just can't get smooth at that. I gotta hook up another monitor and everything. And then, of course, one day I'm buying that soundboard. I'm buying it. I'm doing it. Although not after this thing I just paid for the house. to fix the gas leak. No more soundboard there. Let's talk about OMax. Why he's struggled to start his early career. We're a year and a half, a season and a half into his career so far, and he looks really raw, or he has looked really raw on the court. He is the true definition of he looks like a deer in headlights. It's kind of like a combination of early early Dorian and early Josh Green, or almost current Josh Green, combined, to where I used to make the analogy with Josh Green that it was almost like an Energizer bunny. You kind of just wind him up and just throw him on the court, or the high school running back that we used to always, that a lot, your high school growing up, you had a guy who played on your basketball team, but he was also the running back for your team. And you kind of threw him on the floor, and he was super athletic, but I mean, he would have charges and have these chaotic plays, but sometimes it would all work out and it'd be dude, that's a lot of fun. You just kind of unleash them. He has a little bit too unleashiness to him on the court to start his career. The 3-point shot hasn't translated, hasn't worked out as well to start his career so far. And there's some indecision stuff, just a lot of really young stuff to start your career, and the inconsistent, that I think that's some of the hardest stuff to sometimes, is when you go to a team with expectations, you go to a team that's a win now team, and you're a rookie. If you don't hit it right at the beginning of your time there, and just hit perfectly any small opportunities you get, it's going to be really hard for you to find the time to really hone in on your craft, because the team isn't a Portland, the team isn't a Utah, or whoever it is that's just throwing their young guys out there just to play and try to learn and get better. So I'm not sitting there saying, hey, OMax, it hasn't been great because of the opportunity. No, because he has gotten opportunity different times, and he's looked really raw, and it's all right, he's got to figure this out. But man, these past few games, it's been funny, social media, or getting texts. Nick texted me last night. He's like, are you just fully crying right now? Enjoying these OMax moments. He had the dunk on Jalen Williams, was a few weeks ago when we played OKC, not this time but the last time. And it feels and this is something you hear all the time, it feels like the game is slowing down for him. And I think that's the biggest thing, that the game has felt so fast for him. So he's been playing so fast, and he's been clumsy at times, and it's trying to figure out, and you can see him make the wrong decisions at times. But now it feels like the game is slowing down. And I also got a text from somebody the other day saying, hey, I think OMax has something. I'm like, yes, he does. I was like, yes, I know. I'm excited about it, because I've never given up on OMax as a NBA player and prospect and all of that. What I was worried about, and really worried about over the past few months, is, oh, he's just not ready for this timeline for Dallas, because they need him so bad. He's at the spot that they need the most of. This is the spot that we've talked about for trades and potential trades, is hey, they got to go out and try to get another defensive backup four to PJ. That is the definition of what OMax could and should bring to this team. To where what if he continues stepping into that? I mean, some of that stuff against OKC last night, switching off on SGA and holding his ground and getting the stops and being more comfortable with the ball in his hands. He's making the right decisions. And even the play to where, he only hit 1-3, but the play, he didn't force that three at first. He passed it, repositioned himself, got the ball back from Dinwiddie out on the right wing, drained the three from there. Just looked confident. The shot feels like it's consistent. I think that's a lot of things. Sometimes when you look at young guys that's playing in the league, that the consistency of the form of their shot or their legs and position of that, you don't see the consistency. It's you just want to, they need, you hear good shooters say, I just want to shoot the ball shoot the ball the same way every time. And it feels like that's what's happening with OMax right now, because he's always going to crash the glass, right? He's had 5 or 6 or 7 offensive rebounds over his past 5 games. He's always going to give you the energy. He's going to be physical and play super hard. You're going to get all of that. but it's the other stuff. And it feels like a lot of that stuff is playing into it right now to where OMax, go with me here. This is dad moment. A prospering OMax, it would be so big for this Mavs team. Because, like, imagine if OMax is proven enough to where he can give you consistent minutes as a backup for behind PJ, to where maybe you don't have to go and either overspend or whoever it is and go out and try to get one of these guys, and then you can focus on trying to find another backup big. Because now you have to figure that Nico's kind of like in this, like, all right, well, we've been trying to target like a two-way wing, but now Derek Lively's going to be out for a long time, which is massive blow for this team. Now, do we have to go out and get a backup center? Duop Reith in Portland would be a nice call to make. Which one are we going to spend our small amount of assets on and try to go out and get? But man, I've been so happy to see this play from OMax. And it feels like something is clicking for him and it's being put together for him. And I hope it continues. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited, just as excited as all of you guys to see him. It's like, man, all right. Imagine if you could have him. And I think Lively definitely has a bigger ceiling than OMax. But I'll be really curious to see what happens over these next 2 weeks, because is it something to where, and I know some of you are like, you've just been hyping up OMax this whole time. Is he on this team in 2 weeks? And if he is, then I hope he gets some minutes post trade deadline, and he has a monster, like, not really opportunity, but this is a big moment for him. If he does get some minutes and opportunities over these next, if he's on the team over the next 2 weeks, and he's past with the team past the deadline to finish out the season and into the offseason, this is huge for him to prove that, hey, I can play a role in a rotation on a really, really good team in Dallas. I'm rooting for this guy. I believe in him, whether it's in Dallas or another team. I hope it's in Dallas, or maybe it's on another team with a timeline that's a little bit behind where Dallas is, where it allows him to play a lot more minutes and get more of a groove and all of that. Either way, I believe in him as an NBA prospect. And I think it's like starting to click now, which is why I did this podcast. So hope it's in Dallas. They have a clear defined role for him in Dallas. And it'd be cool to see him get some moments and minutes over these coming weeks and stuff, even when people get healthy. Guys, that is one more thing on Olivier-Maxence Prosper. I love doing an episode on OMax. Let's do this. Hopefully I could do another one and he just like continues playing really well in all of that. But yeah, we'll have another game coming up on Saturday. Big game, big opponent there. And yeah, I have a post game and stuff after that. If you haven't listened to last night's post game between Nick and Slightly, make sure you go do that too. And yeah, thanks for listening. Sign up to our newsletter. It's free. Let's do this. Go OMax, baby. Peace out.